The comic murder mystery. Many are droll, but few are funny. Hello and welcome back to my writing journey. I'm Byerrum, author of The Crime of Fashion Mysteries and soon to be released, I hope, Crick Tales for Two. Today I want to continue a discussion I began last week about humor in mysteries. Last week I talked about how humor can break the tension in a scene and give release to the reader. Conversely, humor can also be used to heighten the tension. For instance, there may be a group of people, always five, I guess, in a cabin in the woods. There's a killer at large, one by one, trying to take off the people in the cabin. How do you use laughter? The characters could start telling jokes, and every time they tell a joke, it just increases the awareness that there's someone out there. So it is not breaking their tension, it is making their tension rise. So humor can be used in a multitude of ways. Humor is also used in the face of trauma. It is a reaction to trauma in real life as it can be on the page. Laughing is a release. I had a friend who worked in a high-end boutique in Bethesda, Maryland, and some years ago, that store was the target of an armed robbery. It was a very organized group of armed robbers, and one day they came for this boutique, and my friend who was there, the robbers came in and they gathered everyone up at gunpoint, forced them to the office upstairs, laid them on the floor, duct taped them, and then they left and robbed the store. But the employees kept expecting them to come back. And my friend luckily was able to get out of his duct tape, call the police. The police were coming, and then the robbers came back. It was extremely tense. The robbers started kicking him and beating him up. But the police came, the robbers left, but they were all rounded up. And later, all of the employees were taken to a police van, and they were asked for statements. They started to give their statements, and then they started to laugh. And they could not stop laughing. Every time it came out, you know those moments where you calm down, you think you've got it under control, and it just explodes out of you. This is a reaction to trauma. They laughed so hard and so long, they irritated the police. Too bad they were alive. I'm very glad about that. You can see how we use humor in everyday situations all the time. I think also in a book, you can use laughing in the face of danger. The heroine makes a crack at the villain's expense. It's very funny, but then the villain decides he's going to do more terrible things to you. Bravery Under Fire shows courage and a daunting sense of humor. It's very nice to use, to sprinkle in like a spice in your mystery. I do have to say, I said, many are droll, but few are funny. You may find this as you read comic murder mysteries, that a lot of them are very droll, but you don't necessarily laugh out loud. It really depends on your perspective of the world, the author's perspective. And let me add, not everyone can do funny. What kind of writer turns to humor? It's the person with the wisecrack, the unlikely reaction, the outside-the-box reaction to what's happening. Some people are born with a sense of the absurd and the gift of laughter. They may actually have a funny bone. They believe it's better to laugh than to cry. They may be the class cut-ups when they're young, the class clown, or maybe they're that quiet kid in the corner, always with a little smirk on their face, because in their mind they are going through a wild adventure with lots of laughter. And then they grow up. But let me also say that not everyone can be a comedian. Not everyone can write funny. I am reminded of a woman in Washington I knew, and she just wanted so badly to leave every meeting with a funny quip. And it wasn't always funny, but you could see her gear up. She would take a deep breath and think. You could see her think, and she was just going to blurt out this funny comment. And often I didn't find it funny. I just wanted to say, please don't be so hard on yourself. Not everyone is funny. Not everyone can do it. Give yourself a break. If you're not funny, you're not funny. Conversely, some people are born with mournfulness in their bones. They may try, but they simply can't make us laugh. Not on purpose anyway. Take Edgar Allan Poe. He was all about Stygian darkness, stalking ravens, and lost lovers. I personally think old Edgar makes a very funny character if he is played completely straight. And I'm working on a play where the ghost of Edgar Allan Poe haunts a comedy writer. I foresee many angry, funny interactions. But unfortunately, Edgar's going to have to get in line because I have a couple of books in front of him. Humor might be appreciated, but you know what? It's angst that wins awards. You read a serious literary book, and the angst goes on and on and on, and it just drips on every page. Man, it's miserable. It's actually miserable to read those books, but boy, do they win awards. Compare that with a comic, crafted murder mystery, and funny lines, and things that make you laugh out loud and smile. You know what the reaction is? People think, oh, that's so funny. It's so easy. That must just be so easy for the writer to write. Well, we all have to write what we write, and if we write funny, that's what we do. So if you are funny, keep at it. Keep honing it. Sorry about the Angst Awards. We're just not going to be in line for them. Those are all the thoughts I have today, and I'll talk to you next week with a bit about voice in humor.